Howdy, Banger Pals. Blayne Smith welcoming you to another Overkill Reviews Bangers Weekly Metal Review Show. This week, we've got a music video featuring trauma-style gore, but with fantasy visuals? What? That's sick. Let's watch. Yes, that great video is for Creeping Death's new album called Boundless Domain, out June 16th as an independent release. Look at that. Good job, boys. Creeping Death are another band storming out of Texas right now. They formed in 2015, but it wasn't until 2019 they released their first record. The band themselves are coming more from a hardcore background and bringing some of that into death metal, but of course not making the dreaded deathcore or metalcore. They're just doing death metal with hardcore. I know, naming stuff gets complicated. They've been a real force and kind of doing it all on their own. This is their second independent release. It's great to see. Let's find out what all the fuss is about, shall we? My notes say the first thing I want to talk about with you is the album intro, and I'm going to do so positively. That seems like I wrote that down wrong. Regardless, if you are going to intro a record, which I'm not sure you should, this is how you intro the record. It's kind of like a quick book jacket summary of what you're going to get in the first minute of the track. You get a southern twang into a dive bomb because the band's from Texas and there's whammy bar all over this album. And then it just builds into a high energy track, kicking the door open for an album that's mostly just wall-to-wall go. Outside of the end of track one, which sort of sounds like the rattling of a haunted bong, there's just music here, nothing else, and that's great. So grab some double mint gum, I guess, because that's a double good start to an album. Cool. You know what? The intro is like a minute long. I'm just going to play it for you, and you can see what I mean. Let's intro this review. You're going to notice the band's Florida influence with your eyes before he even gets to your ears by flipping the record over and going, oh, hey, Corpse Grinder is just here in person on track 2, and Florida will provide your bass flavor, but the nice little caramel ripple that's giving you that standout from the crowded death metal scene these days is the southern groove to it. Now, don't worry, the record has groove, not is groove, because I mean, groove metal in 2023. Oof. Wait, this record does groove and hardcore in death metal without grossing me out. It's truly a feat of strength. What it does mean is that tracks like Vitrified Earth or The Parthian Shot have slow, bass-heavy sections that mix things up, and these slow sections give way to the band flexing that hardcore history that we all know about and leading into some attempts towards the end at crafting like a death metal songwritery type thing to send things off. So bonus points for me. They're trying to structure an album. It's an album. They're going, they're kind of guiding you through things. It's not just, we put tracks in some order. It if I had to get negative, which I actually do, that's my job. If you're not negative in a review, either it's a perfect record or you're just doing album PR, baby. I'd say that the dive bombs, the wild tappy solos, the Uggs kind of dominate the album, and as a result, they feel a little less like a treat as they normally do. The riffs connecting things sometimes feel like they could use a bit more attention. They're never bad. It's just that they sometimes could be catchier, I think, than they are. It feels like a lot of this album is just go. I do have to ask myself, though, what do I think the band's intentions here are? Do I think they're trying to make a record that I sit down and I put on and I get a nice glass of something and I'm in a beanbag chair? Or do I think they're like, hey, this album is a flyer to come see us live. Look at all the cool stuff we promise we'll do if you come see us live. And I saw them at Psycho last year, and they had the unenviable task of closing out the entire festival. They were the last band on at 2 a.m. after 4 days of legends and killers and everybody Vegasing themselves into the grave, and they still smashed it. The crowd went wild, and this record is a bunch of songs that I can see still getting me throwing punches after listening to 50 bands. So again, I'm gonna, have to ding it a little bit for that, but I'm also gonna say it's not a huge problem. And I mean, I say that because I also can hear they have the ability to continue and evolve, and if they want to, they could be a band that really excels in both. I mean, performing live the way they are, they're already ahead of the game, if anything. And when you listen to the Step Up from Wretched Illusion, for an independent band to go from all that kind of mud on a record, which is what you'd expect, to sounding this professional, shows they're investing a lot of time and effort here, and it allows everyone to stand out, and you can kind of realize, like, oh, these guys are really doing some impressive stuff. In addition to the fact that Trey's also spin kicking while he's doing half of it, so that's pretty impressive too. A track like Remnant of the Old Gods stands out to me as them doing what I said the album potentially lacks a little bit, which is having a kind of slower, more doomy tempo start to a track that can still stand out without all the bells and whistles, and it's more little touches that kind of make me go, oh, wow, this is the standout track for me. So, I mean, if there were 2 more of these on the record, I wouldn't have that last complaint at all, and we'd be set, baby. So have a listen, and I think you'll see what I mean. I think Creeping Death did what they needed to do with the record. They provided a bunch of big moments that I want to see live and showed a good deal of growth from their last record. I mean, for a young band, they're really setting up a solid future for themselves, and they're managing to do it all without the kind of big label push that a lot of their classmates are riding. So if you enjoy Creeping Death, big recommend on the record. If you're not sold on Creeping Death yet, instead of buying the record, buy a ticket to their live show next time they're coming through, and then you'll probably just buy the record at the end of the show. So I'm giving it 4 out of 5 skulls that are really missing Las Vegas right now. Another thing I'd like to say is we have a Patreon campaign. Hey, as a reminder, we have a Patreon campaign. You can toss us a couple bucks and we can keep making content like this without having to sell you anything. I just want to sell you records and maybe some t-shirts and some hats. I want to sell you band stuff. I don't want to sell you razors. So toss us a couple bucks, and if you don't have any scratch to spare, a YouTube subscription, a like, a comment is free, and it helps the channel. Of course, I wouldn't leave you high and dry, though. I got some shout-outs at the end for you. I got 3 more records because y'all are insatiable. You just records. Anyways, if you'd like some more kind of knuckle draggy death metal, Torture Rack Primeval Onslaught on $20 spin came out, and that's going to be a little more knuckle draggy than this one. If you want more mud on the production, you're like, get this nice production out of here. Vile Ritual Caverns of Occultic Hatred sounds like it was recorded in Caverns of Occultic Hatred on Sentient Rune. And please, Toronto, one of the weirdest, best bands to come out of Toronto is Thanafaxath, and they released Hive Mind Narcosis at the start of the month on Dark Descent Records. It's absolutely awesome. It's super weird, super unique. Help support Toronto and help support the weird. And, you know, thanks for supporting us. Thanks for sticking around to the end. And, you know, see you next time.